Okay, we left off at 9 Aleph. 2 dots. Gufa. 9 Aleph. Gufa. Omer Rav Yehuda Meshmuel. Kol ha'rotzos iso l'Eretz Yisrael. We had this earlier. What is Isa? Isa is a dough. A dough is comprised of many things. It's a mixture. So we said Bavel, when Ezra came from Bavel, he left it as what? Solas Nikia. All the various groupings of illegitimacy and whatever it may be, he took with them. So the purity of the lineage, when he left Bavel, they were pure. Because since all the Talmud Chachomim and the people had the capability to control it and make the decisions were no longer there, so therefore, even regarding Eretz Yisrael was Isa to Bavel. Bavel was Solas Nikia, and Eretz Yisrael is Isa. And what about Eretz Yisrael versus other parts of the world? Other parts of the world are Isa compared to Eretz Yisrael. Because in Eretz Yisrael they had a Sanhedrin, they were able to keep the lid on it, to keep a semblance of order. Kol ha'rotzos Isa Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael Isa leBavel. All lands are the equivalent of an Isa, a mixture, an intermingling for Eretz Yisrael, but Eretz Yisrael is Isa Bavel. The ultimate location of purity is Bavel. No. Everything's relative, relatively speaking. No, that means all lands, be it Eretz Yisrael, there are slight problems. But compared to what's outside Eretz Yisrael, this is purity. Yeah, but compared to Eretz Yisrael, it's not. The Bavel is the ultimate. This is the finest of the fine, the purest of the pure, because of what Ezra originally had done. Bimei Rebbe. Now, the Gemara says of Psochim, Rebbe was a grandson, or great-grandson of Hillel Zochim. Right? Hillel was the Nasi. He was Malchus based David. He was the Nasi. The Gemara says unbelievable. The Gemara says of Psochim, Hillel, who was Hillel and Shammai's Rebbe? Shmai Vavtalmi. The story when we went on the roof, with the snow, that happened in Bavel. Didn't happen in Eretz Yisrael. Hillel originally was a Babylonian, he was in Bavel, then he went to Eretz Yisrael. When Hillel came to Eretz Yisrael, who were the Nisim? He had cousins who were Nisim. They were called the Bnei Beseira. The Bnei Beseira, they were the Nisim. And there was an incident, and when they saw Hillel, they saw his greatness. So immediately, his unbelievable tzidkus and humility, they stepped down from the Nisius, even though they were Nisim, and they allowed Hillel to assume the position of Nasi. That's what happened. Because they recognized, why? Because Hillel studied on the Shmai Vavtalyon, they did not. So Hillel was greater than they were. So Hillel, when they said, you're welcome to step up, he says, you know why? I'm more qualified than you are? Because I studied on the Shmai Vavtalyon. And you did not. So therefore, that's the reason why you're lesser than I am. We know Hillel was an exceptional honor. But that's the remark he made. What happens? Hashem teaches him a lesson immediately. What happens? It was Erev Pesach Chalios B'Shabbos, and the question was, Pesach is a korban yochid. It's a personal offering. Are you permitted to slaughter on Shabbos? Many questions, and they asked Hillel. Didn't know. Hashem teaching a lesson. You think you're so great, this and that. So he said he didn't know the answer. He says, we're not Nevi'im, we're not B'nai Nevi'im, but whatever is supposed to happen, the Jews, it's going to work out. But there was a degree of embarrassment, but that was it. Bimei Rebbe. So Rebbe was a descendant of who? Of Hillel. Hillel was post-Ezra. So that means, where did Hillel come from? From a location that's called Esau, relative to Eretz Yisrael. Correct? So Bimei Rebbe, Bikshu Lasos, Bavel, Esau, Eretz Yisrael. They wanted to start doing some type of investigation, because it was years later from after Ezra left. They wanted to switch the equation. And now Bavel is considered the Esau relative to Eretz Yisrael. He says, you're putting thorns between my eyes. So Rashi explains, because since Rebbe was a Babylonian, was from Babylon, once you invest, you may reveal that there's something wrong with me, that I'm not of pure lineage. Therefore, Ritzontchem yitabel imochem. Yitabel imochem Reb Chanina bar Chomo. Regarding your request, I'm telling me, you create you be creating a problem. We'll see in a moment what it means. It says, let Rab Chanina ben Bar Chama, he will deal with this. Nitfal Limon Rab Chanina Bar Chama. Omalehem Kachnu Klanim Rabbi Shmo Rabbi Yossi. He says, I have a tradition from Rabbi Shmo Rabbi Yossi, She'omar Mishamoviv, who said the name of his father, Rabbi Yossi, Kol HaRotzos Isol Eretz Yisrael. All lands are considered a composite, a mixture. Isol Bavel. Bavel is the ultimate purity. Therefore, you just leave it alone. There's no reason to do any investigation. Kachnu Kablani. Therefore, there's no question. That's the way it stays. Because there's no indication things change. Okay? That's what he answered it.
Did most of the population leave Bavel for Israel town Gaza?
No. It was a small group. But whoever he took, even though it was a minority of the Jews, it was. But they were the different classifications of what we discussed earlier. The Meir Pinchos, Bikshu Lassos Bavel Isol Eretz Yisrael. Same thing. This was later date. Time of Pinchos, they wanted to again establish that Bavel should be considered an Isa to Eretz Yisrael, I mean not as pure. Omalem Lavodov. Pinchos, no. Later. He says, Omalehem Lavodov, he said to his servants, Kishani Omer Shnei Dvorim beBeis HaMedrash. He says, I'm going to say two things in the Beis HaMedrash publicly, and there's going to be a reaction. Yeah? So therefore, because of that reaction that we said earlier, with Reb Yehuda, they wanted to stone him. And they had enough stones that when they threw into the river, they stopped up the river, right? So we'll see in a moment. See, he's going to say something which is going to cause an explosion. So what's going to be? See, once he's instructing his slaves, that after he says these two halachas, immediately you should pick him up and run with him. So Rashi, because he was an old person, he couldn't run himself. So he had to be carried to flee from the location. There's a famous story, we'll see in a moment, I'll tell you in a moment, with Reb Lezer Gordon. He was the Telzer Rov. He was the founder of starting Telzer Yeshiva in Europe. Story I'll tell you in a moment. Kluni barisa, put me in a sedan chair, arisa, verutsu, yeah, and run with me, yeah, because we have to flee immediately. Can't delay a moment. Omalehem. Now there's a machlokas in Tchulin on the Torah. We know the Gemara says to slaughter an animal. Shchita is halachim mishum sinai. It says zavachta. Zavachta means shchita. How do we know what shchita is? Halachim mishum sinai. Exactly what shchita is. Now the Gemara says, what about slaughtering a bird? Is shchita min auf min haTorah midrabanan? That's what you have to slaughter, cut its neck in a certain way. Is that a doraisa midrabanan? It's a machlokas. Machlokas in the Gemara. So by the blood it says yishofeh domo. Its blood should be spilled. So what is the connotation? From there, the opinion holds that shchita is required by an animal, but shvicha is, the connotation is what? Not shchita. So that a person's opinion is, ain't shchita lof min haTorah. It's only drabonon. It's rabbinicals. Okay? Omalem. So first he announces, ain't shchita lof min haTorah. Which was they didn't know. Halacha, you have to slaughter a bird. But a bird, you only have to cut one siman, you don't have to cut both siman. That's the halacha. Even drabonon, you only have to cut one siman. But ain't shchita, so they were taken aback. Adi Yasim Hamaini, but when they were distracted, because they were taken aback, then he dropped the bombshell. So the reason why they didn't react immediately when he dropped the bombshell, because they were still involved thinking about the first thing he said. That's what he said in that order. If he would have said the second thing first, the bombshell, then they wouldn't have escaped. But since he said the first, which was a little bit of a chiddush to them, that shchita on a Torah level is not required, so it says that the Yasin Kamaini, when they were sitting and delving into it and reflecting on it, Omar Lehem, Amalu said, Kol HaRotzos Isol Eretz Yisrael. All lands are considered a mixture compared to Eretz Yisrael. Isol Bavel. That means it's not so simple in Eretz Yisrael. Because when Ezra brought him up, there was some assimilation, intermingling, legitimate, illegitimate. That means everybody here is not as kosher as they think they are. That's the statement. The second he finished saying the second statement, not lo barisa v'rotzu. They put him in the sedan chair and they ran. They ran with him. Rotzu achrov v'lo yigi'u. They pursued him, and they ran so quickly they couldn't catch him. They weren't able to catch Reb Pinchas. Yoshu botku achigiv lesakonos tefosh at sakona. Pirshu. So they started when hearing that. So they started immediately launched all kinds of investigations to evaluate people's lineage. It reached the point of sakona. Why? Because there were some people in Israel who were very wealthy and very powerful, and they said, we don't want you to tamper here. This has to remain under wraps. They didn't want. Upi said they stopped. But as a result of that statement, that's what happened. Amr Reb Yochanan, Heichole biyodenu hui. So he said, what's Heicholo? It's like taking an oath. Shvua peicholo shomokom. Take an oath in the Beis Hamikdash. Avo ma'aseh shegedolei ador nitmu bo. Yeah? Gedolei ador nitmu bo. Because there was such rampant, meaning if there's a question of one person's pedigree, you do the investigation, like today. The average Jew, is not a mamzer, right? Because things were pretty much kept in. So now you have a question, it's about tshuva, where do you come from? But let's say it's something which is very prevalent. And the question is, by launching investigations, you may actually put things in a very bad light. Then you leave it be. There's a presumption, chazaka, leave things be. Shrei gdolei ador nitmu bo. No, it's not. Assimilation is not a problem. The problem is mamzera. Today, see, the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu works it out, it's unbelievable. Where Moshe's heter, that if a person marries and the witness is not kosher, right? And even though they live as man and wife, Rav Moshe holds, it's not a marriage. Halachically, the woman does not need a get. Even their intent, even though they're living as husband and wife. Because he says that the Gemara says, the most of bilos nus is only a person who's a Shomer Torah mitzvahs. Person is not a Shomer Torah mitzvahs, that principle has no relevance. Therefore, the marriage was never a marriage. Unless there were kosher witnesses under the chuppah, the marriage is not a marriage. That's Rav Moshe's psak. Of course, he says if you get a get, it's better to get a get. But if you can't get a get, the children are not mamzerim. So because of Rav Moshe's psak, vast majority of conservative reform marriages, even though they live as husband and wife afterwards, and they divorce without a get, and remarry, the children are not mamzerim, according to Rav Moshe. And anybody who has an orthodox, it's like it's a minority of a minority. If it should happen, that the child that you should be considered adultery. Okay? When? That's why I always say, people when they non-observant people get married, just one of the friends, make sure to have kosher witnesses on the chuppah. Just the opposite. Just the opposite. You don't want kosher because with the divorce rate, and you don't know where this is going, it could be disastrous. They'll get divorced civilly, and then after she'll get married, and because he had kosher witness initially under the chuppah, she's a married woman, so it's considered adultery, so you can have a mamzer. Better don't have the kosher witnesses. Let them do what they want. Let the conservative reform rabbi, let him choose and pick whatever he wants. The father and the grandson. The grandfather, they'll be the witnesses. Let them be the witnesses.
Is this widely accepted?
Rav Moshe?
No, I know Rav Moshe, but
his psak.
This specific psak.
Yes. Everybody said. I'm not saying a chassid would follow it, but
saying
it's
in terms of mamzeros.
Yeah, definitely, Rav Moshe. That's the accepted psak. Even though people disagreed with him, this happened. They had to rely on this when the Jews came out of Russia, and very often only one spouse came out because the husband was a communist. The wife came without the husband, and she wanted to make a new life for him. She wanted to marry. So Moshe ruled, if you can't get a get, she could marry without a get. Because since in Russia it wasn't a kosher marriage, even though in Russia they lived together as a husband and wife, it's not a marriage. Therefore, she could remarry without a get.
And what's the reason that someone has to be a shomer mitzvahs for an actual
because the Gemara says a person when he cohabits He doesn't want that his cohabitation should be biaznus, should be an act of promiscuity.
Okay.
And man who doesn't keep Torah mitzvahs, he's just a physical person. He's not doing it within the conformance of what Hashem wants. It should have that spiritual character to it. I'm doing it for the sake of a mitzvah. Right? You enjoy being with your wife. Okay, that's it. You want to have kids or whatever it is. But it's not intertwined with mitzvah. It's only when you have that means the actual bia is a ma'aser kiddushin. You understand? When you do it for the sake of mitzvah, so we say, even though the original marriage wasn't a marriage under the chuppah, he's marrying it with bia, with cohabitation. But if a person doesn't have his mind, doesn't think mitzvah, because he doesn't live as a Torah mitzvah Jew, then it has no relevance. So it's just a physical act. Therefore, the marriage is not a marriage ever.
Either with Adam that aren't kosher, or he has the wrong attitude.
It's not the wrong, he doesn't have the proper mindset.
What if he did have the proper mindset and he didn't have the right age?
But the presumption is a person who's not observant does not have that mindset. That he's cohabiting for the sake of mitzvah. Doesn't have that. So if that's the case, if initially the marriage was not a marriage, and later marriage is not a marriage, so what is it? It's two people living together. Therefore, no get is required. Okay?
What are the kids?
Kids are kosher Jews. The children born out of wedlock. As long as the mother's a Jewish woman and she's legitimate. Okay? I mean, most Bali Tshuva, that's the products of that type of situation. Most Bali Tshuva. But it's not, incest is very rare. Among Jews, incest is rare. Yeah, Ishish Ish, so there's no Ishish Ish. By Reform and Conservatives, no. This is, so as bad as it is that the Jews, became left to fold, went to Reform and went to Conservative, but if they would have always been, then they would have behaved themselves. But that they conduct themselves, that's so good. That's the saving grace, so to say. Kodesh Baruch had Rachmanos. What? Whatever. Exactly.
That's an incredible stuff.
Yeah. Sovak Reb Yitzchok. Domer Reb Yitzchok b'shpocha shenitmo. Hear this? A family that assimilated, meaning that illegitimacy entered into the family. You just leave it be. You let it be. Omer Abaye Afanami Tinino. He says, actually, we learned in the Mishnah something similar. Mishpachas Beisat Shrifo. There was a family that was called Beisat Shrifo, which was on the Trans-Jordan side. V'richko ben Zion Bizroa. And he what? And this Ben Zion, he was a very wealthy man, and he was a upstanding Jew. And because he was so powerful, he went and he castigated, set him aside forcibly. The Kira Ben Zion Bizroa. Kagon Elu Elio Bolitame Ulitayr. The Rachi Ulo Karif. These families, Elio, would actually would contaminate them, cause them to be seen as illegitimate, or to purify them. Well, Kagon Elu Diadin. These families were known. Families known to be not legitimate. It's not legitimate. I mean, you can't just cover up something which is known. You know the mamzerim. We'll ignore it. Aval mishpocha shenitmu. But a family that was actually, something happened, then it's nitma. You let it be. Yeah. No, this family was known. They were known to be illegitimate. They were known to be illegitimate. They were known. Which one would you leave alone? The family. That's what we're saying. We know there's a problem, and the problem is so rampant, but it hasn't been established. You leave it be. You let it be. He says, Rashi says, The chomishroch shenitma nitma shein dein lafi shel archiko levaris sovik mitam ehem. You shouldn't verify the suffix as a result of this intermarriage. Mi nitma, mi lo nitma. The family is definitely not. It's not all illegitimate. Some of them married this illegitimate person. Ela yanicha v'hem suffix v'hem ksherim v'losid lavo. And there will be suffix at the end of time. Okay? Richka hichriz shem psulim. Because they were all psulim. Wasn't it? No, Benzin was the wealthy, powerful man. He said the family, he said they were all psulim. They were. It's not illegitimacy intermingled into the family. No, but people didn't know. He knew. The whole family was no good. It's not, there was a suffix in the family. They were all illegitimate. Only he was able, because he was so wealthy and he was so powerful. So he made known those who were illegitimate and those who were legitimate. Okay? Okay. Tana ora cheres, hoiso. We learned there was another incident. Lo rotza chacham lagaloso. Something similar. The chacham didn't want to reveal it. Aval chachamim moshim osa levneim ultalmideim. Pamachs b'shavua. They didn't reveal it, but they would reveal it once in a shvua. Shvua means in a 7-year period, sabbatical cycle. Amrilo pamayim b'shvua. This concept. Omer Rav Nachman Yitzchak Mistabra Command Yom Pamachs B'Shvua Kedetanyo. Hareini Nozir. Person says, I'll be a Nozir. Conditional. Im lo agale mishpochos. If I will not reveal the families. So the halach is Yeh Nozir v'lo yigale mishpochos. Hear this? He made himself a Nozir on the condition he will not make gale mishpochos. So he has a way out. If he reveals the illegitimacy of people with families that we know there's a problem, but it's not clear what the problem is. So it says he should be a Nazir, he should not. What do you mean? If there's nothing wrong, he should reveal it, and he won't be a Nazir. But it says he should not. So what do we see clearly? That the right thing is not to leave it undercover and just leave it be. That's mishpoch shein nitma nitma. They knew that they had the ability through their verification. They could have, but because it was so, the family generally they were kosher, in general. But if they would start doing investigation, they could weed out the problem. In that situation, just leave it be. But they have to know, otherwise they may do the wrong thing later. Something comes up, we have to verify it, but it's the wrong thing. It's the wrong thing to do it. Like we're quoting, we bring a proof from the Brisa. This Masorah is given over just the other way, to maintain the kashrus, right? That the family should remain legitimate, see them as legitimate Jews. The only things I don't understand, he says, it says, did they reveal it once in a 7-year period, twice in a 7-year period? So Rav Nachman says, Mistavra Kamad Yom Pamach B'Shua. The Ketanya is not the Pamach B'Shua, because that you don't see from the Brisa. You only see from the Brisa that the person made himself a Nazir. If he doesn't reveal it, so we say he should remain a Nazir and not reveal it. Although he has the power to reveal it, and he will not be a Nazir. Right? That's what we bring a proof from the Brisa. Not once in 7 years or twice in 7 years. Omer Rabbi Rachon, Omer Rav Yochanan, Shem Shem Ben Arba Osias Chachom Mosen Osel Talmidim. So Rashi says, the Beis Hamikdash, we're talking about the Shem HaForish, the way the Kohen Gadol would say it, there's a certain way to pronounce it. Rashi also says, and understand all the various, Rashi says, Kriyoso, Ksivoso, how it should be read, how it should be written, Pirshu Chachomim, Upirshu Chachomim, Mosen Oso, Uperusho, and the understanding of it. Okay? That they give over to the Talmidim, Pamachs B'Shua. Once in a 7-year period, then most of this. This is like the Nister. This is something only special people who are responsible at a certain caliber are privy to this information. Amrigo Pamayim B'Shua. Omer Abdach B'Yitzum Mistabra Command Yom Pamachs B'Shua D'Chsiv Zeshmi le'olam la'alem ksiv. Meaning it should be revealed less often. Of course, if you reveal more often, there's a concern. The word may get out. And since the Torah says Zeshmi le'olam and the vav is deleted, la'alem ksiv, so it's alluding, it should be concealed. La'alem. No, we bring a proof from you, Nosir. No. He made it initially on the condition that he wasn't. He didn't have to make himself a Nazir at all. That's the way he made himself a Nazir. On the condition that I will not reveal the family. I'm a Nazir if what? We'll get Chaim Klein back here. Why Nerdo, why Pupadisa? It's irrelevant why. Factually, he made the netter. It's not a fact. Chazal, when they write the Brisa, they're introducing information to learn from this. The man didn't make himself a Nazir. This case never happened. They wrote the Brisa in this context to tell it. He has a way not to be a Nazir. Let him reveal the illegitimacy of the family. But it says he should remain Nazir, not reveal it. He has a way to extricate himself from the whole thing because it was a conditional Nazirus. So why does it say he should not reveal it? So evidently, so you see clearly he leaves things be. No, it doesn't. That's what we're not bringing proof from that. We're not bringing proof from that. That's what I said. From there, we're only bringing proof to this concept that if something's not obvious, just leave it under wraps. Leave it and don't ruffle the feathers. That's what's being said over here. The Nazirus is not relevant. It's not relevant. We'll bring the point, even though the Nazirus was contingent on something which he has the way to cause that the Nazirus should not be in the Nazirus, better be a Nazir and don't reveal it. But there's nothing wrong with reveal it. Why can't I reveal it? The answer is, what? Exactly. That it's the wrong thing to reveal it. That's all it's bringing out. So you say, why? As I said, it's not a reality. A person made himself a Nazir. Chazal set up the case that we should be able to draw from this case that you don't reveal it. That's why he set up the case in this context. Rava Sova Levitchishul Pirka. Rava wanted to give a public lecture about the pronunciation of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Right? Omalehu Saba, so there was an elderly Talmud Chacham who says, La'alim Ksiv. No, it's the wrong thing. Even though the group itself are people who are maybe qualified, but this is something you don't give over this kind of information in a public setting. Okay? He says, La'alim Ksiv. You're supposed to keep it concealed. Ravina Rami Ksiv. Ravina asks a contradiction of Psukim. Zeshmi Uchsiv Zezichri. This is my name, this is the way I should be remembered. Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lo Shani Nichtav Ani Nikro. Nichtav Ani B'Yud Kei. He says, the writing is what spells Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Nikr, what's the pronunciation of Yud Kei Vav Kei? Adni, Aleph Dalet. Yud Kei Vav Kei, although based on the vowels, the pronunciation should not be Adni, nevertheless, it's Adni. Okay? This is Zezichri. Zeshmi, but Zichri. When you articulate it, you don't articulate as it's written. The Mishnah side brings it in the name of Shaloh Darizo, at the beginning of that when a person wakes up in the morning, Steve, listen to this, when you wake up, even before you open your eyes, you should visualize before your eyes Yud Kei Vav Kei with the vowels, as the vowels are written. And it's a school of Yerushalayim. Before you open your eyes, when you wake up in the morning, first thing that you see before your eyes is Yud Kei Vav Kei with the vowels, with the nekudas of what Yud Kei Vav Kei is, not the pronunciation of Adni. And he says it's a school of Yerushalayim. So we're only about articulation, pronunciation. I mean, even though it's pronounced Adni, but what's the kavanah whenever you say Yud Kei Vav Kei? You're supposed to think Ho Yehoviyah. Besides Adon Kol. That's what you're supposed to think. To be continued.